Niner gang. What's going on, Niner faithful? It's your boy, Niner Beto, aka Niner Sickness, with the Niner Sickness podcast show coming to you live Friday night. There's so many things we're going to be talking about tonight. One of the things is going to be, if you haven't read already on Twitter or anywhere in social media, the Emmanuel Sanders is heading over to the Saints. We'll be discussing that and much more. I want to introduce my two co-hosts, guys, that are going to be joining me tonight. Introducing you, not nobody but the less, but Mr. Boston Hater himself, and Mr. Florida Mike, coming to you live here on the Niner Signals podcast show. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, man. Good, man. Glad to be on the show. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to really getting into this, whole free agency thing.
Cool.
And a lot more even about the draft. I'm really excited about the draft.
Definitely. So before we get started, let's go ahead and just remind our viewers to support us on YouTube. Very importantly, that you first and foremost that you share our video. This content tonight, please share it on your timeline, share it with your friends and family. But also go to YouTube and like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you guys will be notified each and every time we go live and we bring you content of the 49ers. So if you want to continue to hear information about your beloved Niners, you want to keep up with us, go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified. I cannot stress that enough. Also follow us on Instagram at NinerSickness49, on Twitter at NinerSickness49, and here on Facebook at NinerSickness. And you can find us on YouTube under Niner Sickness. All right, guys, with that said, let's continue on with the show. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to my boys. I shall return in a few minutes, but my boys are going to handle their business here. So go ahead and take it off, guys.
Hey, wanted to say real quick, big shout out to my boys on this show. Big shout out to the fans that are chiming in. And a big shout out to the Orlando, Florida, Niner Empire chapter, and the Germany Niner Empire chapter. You already know. So had to do that real quick. And like my boy said, make sure you subscribe, hit that like, and make sure you share this video with everybody you know, man. We're going to blow it up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really want to give a shout out to, of course, the Boston Niner fans, of course.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. Outside of that, just excited to get started.
Hey, man, so let's kick this off with the first and foremost, man. We got the title of the show after Emmanuel Sanders obviously going to the Saints. If you fans haven't heard, Emmanuel Sanders is confirmed to be with the Saints now. So what's your whole take on that, man? I mean, we seen what the Saints got him. Do you have any type of feelings, Nate, that you like about it, or anything that you feel about this, man? What do you feel?
Yeah, say la vie. I mean, I'm not really tied to a guy that was on a team for a half season. I liked him. I liked him before he got there, but he's 33. Yeah, we gave up some draft capital because we were making a Super Bowl run. I do not feel that it makes sense for us to, tie up for a couple of years a 33-year-old wide receiver. I think we need to move forward. We don't want to start tying up old blood. We want, guys that have, years to come. I don't think that would have been the right move. I like what he brought to the team. I like what he brought to the table for the time he was there. I think looking back on it for a half season, we probably gave up quite a bit for the guy. But all in all, we were able to recoup that draft capital, but with a move that we had to make. So I'm good with the fact that he was there, and I'm good with the fact that he's gone now.
So what you made an interesting statement there in your point about not being tied to a guy that's older. What about DeForest Buckner? Do you have any emotional attachments to him as well, with him being younger?
I do.
Gotcha.
But when it comes to it, he was probably my favorite defensive lineman on the team. You know, more so than Bosa, more so than D Ford. D Ford's new. You know, Buckner's been with us from day one.
Yep.
And I did like Buckner for the last 4 years better than I liked Armstead over the last 5. I think he's a better player, flat out. But
Right.
if you were to sit back and ask me, do you want Eric Armstead and a 13th overall pick, or DeForest Buckner and a 3rd round compensatory pick? I think we made the right move. And I think this is the kind of tough decision that you see that organizations that try to extend championship windows, and if they luck up on making good choice after good choice with making those hard decisions, they can keep that championship window open for many years. And what I am most concerned about as a Niner fan is sustained success. And we have just
Absolutely.
reached success. I don't
Right.
want to, look 2 years from now and watch half our team that was worth anything go out the door, whether due to injury, outrageous cap numbers, had to get rid of them because we have like the top 5 guy in like 5 different positions making top 5 money in 5 different positions. I don't want to do that. So I am glad that they opted to get what they could get for him, which is a lot. I think that everybody won in that trade. I think that Indy got what they were looking for, and we got a lot out of it. We got to have DeForest Buckner for 4 years. He played at a high level for all of those years. But, our thing is now we have to be prudent as it pertains to our finances. We have to be able to fit guys in under the cap. And if you continue to pay guys premiums, you will have a few very good players circled around by a bunch of guys that are basically a bunch of mid-quality youngsters wrapped around with a bunch of guys that are just barely missing the practice squad. Yeah.
Right.
That's not what you want. You want to upgrade your talent, but you have to get value. That's what's important. You need value when you start to build a team. You have to have the George Kittles of the world. You have to have the Dre Greenlaws, the Emmanuel Mosleys. You have Matt Breida. You have to have these kind of guys on your team to be successful year in and year out. You have to find those kind of guys.
Right, absolutely. And piggybacking off of your response and to our previous show, any Niner fan tuning in that might have missed the last couple shows, we basically just giving a recap of Emmanuel Sanders and DeForest Buckner, what's going on with our team in free agency. And if you're just now tuning in, so I agree, Nate, everything you said. And to add on to that, just to kind of reiterate, acquiring DeForest Buckner, for example, it's an emotional loss for many Niner fans. He was here with us from the beginning, through the hard times, all the way to the Super Bowl. It's like we watched our kid who grew up and graduated high school. Now it's on to college, and they got to go off, and we got to make do with what we have. So that's the reality. Had we kept DeForest Buckner, there's a lot of pieces that we probably would not be able to retain in the future for the asking price that he had. So, we just have to, if we was going to get rid of him, it'd be time to do it now because, like Nate mentioned, we'd have got a 3rd round compensatory pick for it. And, I mean, you got a 1st round. It's a big difference. So we have more draft leverage and capital opportunities now. So going back to Emmanuel Sanders, we gave up a 3rd, 4th round. He was only with us for a half a season. Do you think that even though in the long term, a lot of fans are going to say, man, it feels like a rip-off. I feel like he was a rental. But during his short tenure with the San Francisco 49ers, don't you think that he kind of made a huge impact on our receiving core to help get us to the Super Bowl? What do you think would have been the impact if we didn't make that trade and have Emmanuel Sanders versus with us having him for a short season?
Oh, he absolutely had a lot to do with us making it to the Super Bowl. But what
Right.
does that have to do with 2020 is my feel.
Right.
I don't feel like he's necessary now. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your contribution. Uh, I think you were excellent for the room. I think you were excellent for the team. And I'm going to miss you a bit, but I'm not going to miss you enough to say that we should have paid you for 2 years and paid you till you were 35 years old. No, I don't feel that.
Especially when we can get a younger receiver cheaper who can give productivity probably
Yeah.
as the season grows or maybe even instantly, who knows.
Yeah.
um
And perhaps, it's not about, for me, it's not about one season. This season might not be it. What about the guy that we draft is going to be there 3, 4, 5 years, and the productivity that he gives us over that term, as
yeah,
opposed to just year one. Not a lot of guys give you great contributions in year one. It's okay,
absolutely.
but we hope for it, but I don't really expect it.
Yeah, I wanted to recognize a few of the comments scrolling up too. So man, all the people that's chiming in, we see you. We're definitely going to get to you. We're not going to ignore you. Richard Bryan, we see you, man. Appreciate you showing love. Much love to you too, brother. And we got our brother Beto. Looks like he tapped back in, man. It's in the ring. So, but I'll keep it rolling, man. I never really get a chance to have the opportunity to hit up with the questionnaire. So I'm going to sit on the other side of the fence. I can do it all. It don't matter. But hey, so Nate, let's get back to this, man. So with the draft, we have a few of our fans. As I mentioned, I'm not going to ignore them. I see that they're posting things about the wide receiver in the draft. So they were talking about 3 wide receivers, Lamb, Judy, or Ruggs. What's your take on that? Because a lot of fans are saying we obviously need a receiver.
Yeah.
We have some things mentioned with
Uh,
free agents, and we got some things mentioned with the draft. What's your take on that?
well, before we get too deep into what we're going to do in the draft, we got to see, do they really plan to mess with something in free agency? If they mess with in free agency, we don't really need to address it at 13. That's too high. If we're going to address it in a free agent style, we probably need to look another way. That's my opinion. And I'm not really so sold that we need to address it at 13. Um, Even if we don't go free agent, because there is a big pool of guys that are really excellent players, and they could all benefit us. You know, there's a D tackle from Auburn. I think his last name's Brown. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he could really benefit us in a lot of ways. There is a offensive tackle by the name of Alabama, Willis. Willis is his name. Um, he could benefit us. You got 3 wide receivers that could benefit us, I believe. And at that pick, you've got a safety from LSU. You've got a defensive back from LSU by the name of Fulton, I believe it is. Fulton? Yeah. Um, and I just don't know that it's a big thing. I'm even a big proponent of Clemson linebacker Isaiah Simmons. I don't think that he is just straight up a linebacker. I think this dude might be a safety. I don't know what he is. He is probably the most unique defensive player I've ever seen. So I don't know what he made. He can rush the passer. He can he can cover, and he's like 6'2" and 230 and runs a 4.3, and he's really good at changing direction. He could benefit us. And then there's the guys like Akuda, very good corner, could do some. Henderson, C.J. Henderson from Florida, another good one. I mean, there's just so many names, and that before we get there, guys like Tua, Burrow, and Chase Young, which I haven't even mentioned, are going to definitely be on that list. They're going to be gone before we can even get up to 13. I think I've named 12 or 13 guys. I don't know exactly how many, but right around there. And we're at 13. I know that I'm not this good. There is no way that I named the top 12 or 13 draft picks. There's going to be other guys that jump into that group that maybe a lot of us will disagree with. But the bottom line is this gives us a couple of options, you know. If there's a lot of them, the guys I named left, that trade back to 18 is a lot more tempting than it would be if they weren't.
Hey, what are you guys' thought on the kid from South Carolina, Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle?
Kinlaw?
Yeah, he's a pretty good. He's a big boy. He's
He can
6'5",
play, but I think I like Brown from Auburn better.
Oh, so do
Kinlaw
I.
might be gone. Kinlaw very well might be gone before we draft. He's that good. But
yeah, I'm looking at multiple.
I don't like his fit for us. You know?
Yeah, I'm looking at multiple mock drafts, and a lot of them have him coming to the Niners at 13.
I like Brown better than Kinlaw.
But they have Brown going
there. If they're both there, I take Brown over Kinlaw.
Yeah, they have Brown going 7 to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, I'm not sold on defensive tackle. That group of players that I named, I'm pretty high on all of them. There's only one that I have any questions about. That's Fulton. Fulton has some little off the field issues that I don't know if I'm comfortable with. You know, he's he was the one that altered the marijuana tests. Tried to play with. He got suspended behind that. So I don't know how comfortable I am with that. But under the new CBA, if he was just trying to hide his marijuana use, they can't suspend you for testing positive for marijuana anymore with the new collective bargaining agreement. I don't know how much that matters, but it's just the idea that you would that you get caught messing with the test like that. I don't know if that's a guy we want on our team. But as far as his talent, he's probably better than Akuda.
Yeah. That's interesting. So just to touch bases, I just wanted to get your guys' input on, as we all know, Emmanuel Sanders is going to the Saints. For what I read, it was 16 million up to 19 million, depending how the contracts worked out. But it is definitely something the Niners could afford to pay for him if they choose to keep him, especially since they gave a 3 and a 4 for him last year, and this year's draft, excuse me. But for them to let him go, they either have their mind on someone else, or they just felt in practices and in games that he wasn't the player they probably thought he was going to be. Give and take, he helped us a lot. But he only had like 2 good games, and all the games he played with us. But I mean, why would they let him go then? If he's that good, if he did play for you.
I'm not going to sit up and talk about a guy. He only had 2 good games. I think that's nonsense. I mean, my thing is, we're not looking at Nintendo or fantasy football numbers. We're watching games.
Okay.
He had many more than just 2 good games. He had 2 good fantasy games, but he had probably about a good half dozen games that there was a lot of impressive things that were happening on that field. Maybe more. But my thing is, you got an older guy. The thing you got to do is you got to keep it moving with this youth movement. You can't get bogged down on a guy that, like I said, if you sign him for 2 years, he's going to be 35. The Saints are turning into, especially offensively, a senior citizen squad.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they would do that. I mean, I thought that Dallas would have been a better fit for him because Dallas has kind of weeded out a lot of the age. They're pretty young. They could take a guy on like that. Plus, it would improve their situation. I don't know that Emmanuel Sanders in 2020 improves us. I think that you could probably go another direction with a more talented guy and look to groom him for the future and maybe get comparable production from maybe multiple guys. Who knows? Between Jalen Hurd, Trent Taylor, your draft picks, maybe you can get comparable or better production. So why would you pay Emmanuel Sanders when the idea is to either A, groom these guys to be next to Debo, and Kendrick Bourne will be back for another year. So, if you need that clutch catch or that special drop on first down so he can make the special catch on third down, Kendrick Bourne's your guy. He'll be there. But, I don't know that. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how the contract structure, but $16 million, it sounds like the base. $8 million per for an aging receiver that he's not going to get any better. Do you want to do that? Or are you trying to?
What was the whole process of bringing him in half season then?
Process of bringing him in half season was the fact that we had nobody producing. We had zero productivity. Debo Samuel became a different guy once.
So they needed a spark.
Emmanuel got there. Basically, you needed somebody to groom these young guys and teach them how to be a pro. And I think Debo learned that while Emmanuel was there. I don't know that we need that anymore.
Yeah. So
he was the right guy at the right time.
So right now we're looking at this is if we don't draft nobody. Let me rephrase it. This is without drafting somebody in this year's draft. Based on what we have on our roster, we have Debo Samuel, we have Jalen Hurd, Trent Taylor, Kendrick Bourne, Dante Pettis, and
Goodwin.
Goodwin, and then number 13, Richie James.
Yep.
Now, I don't know about you guys, and I would like to touch a little bit on Richie James. I don't think Richie James has given. I don't really like him as a punt returner as much as I would like to see him more as a receiver. I think the kid has more to offer as a receiver. Would you guys be interested to see if they would give him more opportunities?
Maybe that's part of the plan. Yeah, I think he needs to have, because I notice he gets in there, he'll make a play, and then you won't see him anymore. So I believe that he does need more opportunity.
Yeah, I would love to see him step up. But I don't know about you guys, but do you guys see the Niners keeping both Richie James and Trent Taylor, kind of two of this kind of similar type of receivers on a roster?
No, they're not similar. they're very different. I mean, they're different. Okay, well, what you've got is somebody who's shifty and gets open in short areas, as opposed to somebody who stretches the field vertically.
And that will be Trent Taylor?
Trent Taylor's not stretching the field vertically.
Trent Taylor's a slot guy, kind of like,
he is a shifty guy who doesn't have a lot of straight line speed.
Okay.
He changes
Richie James
really
is more
well,
vertical
and he gets
threat.
open easily in short areas. Richie James is more of a guy that just has more of a kick returner / running backs kind of skill set, but he can also stretch the field. He's not one that's going to get open in a short area. He's probably going to beat you vertically, or he's going to step back and catch a bubble screen or something like that, or run a reverse.
Okay. So everybody wants a big time receiver. We have that, although he hasn't played it down for us in a regular season. We have that in Jalen Hurd.
Not a big time receiver. That's a big receiver.
Big receiver, yeah.
Considered big time till you do something big time. He has not.
Yeah, well, what I meant big time is big size, big body. That's what I meant. And in the red zone.
I don't care about that.
you may not care about it. I understand your point, but there's a point when you're in the red zone, you want to be able just to throw the ball up in there and have a receiver go up and catch it on a fadeaway or those are necessary. We need those because we struggle a lot inside the red zone.
Struggle inside the red zone because you didn't make the right choice. If guys get open, which guys were getting open, you make the right read, you throw the ball there. These guys are good at getting open. Debo is good at getting open. Emmanuel Sanders is good at getting open. You know,
but doesn't the field
shrink? Good at getting open.
The field shrinks towards the end zone, though.
You still get open. It doesn't matter. You know, it's all about making that decision. The decision has to be made by that quarterback. He's the one throwing that football. Yeah, I'm not interested in whether the guy can, you know, be 6'4" and go up and get the ball. That's great if he can. I mean, that's an asset. You know, but my thing is, can he separate? You know, I don't need a big guy that's going to be covered all the time and you got to throw 50-50 balls up. I'm not interested in that. So what?
Okay, what's your thoughts on that, Mike? You're pretty quiet over there.
Well, you know, I mean, Jalen Hurd, for me, I can understand why there's a lot of buzz and intrigue and excitement about him. He's an unknown. He has a lot of potential. He played a lot of different positions in college. So, you know, a lot of people are going to look at him and say, man, this is a guy that I think can bring it. However, you know, adjusting from being a project and potential talent, adjusting from college to the league is going to be different. You know, when he plays against the number ones out there in the season, it's going to be an adjustment. I mean, you see Debo Samuel, it took him a while to start to get acclimated because he was dropping balls every now and then, or, you know, and people was getting upset forgetting he's a rookie. But when he started to come on and start showing out a little bit more and stepping up, people forgot about it just that quick. So hopefully Jalen Hurd can do the same thing production-wise and come back. So, you know, I'm excited about him, man, because I think he has a lot of potential. I'm excited to see. And Taylor, too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm again, I know you guys don't watch extended practices that we call preseason games, but I like what I saw. Well, I like what I saw in Jalen Hurd in college, and I like to see. I would like him to continue to transcend that into the NFL. But I like what I saw against the Cowboys for the little bit that he was able to show. Now, Nate, for many of you know, don't believe in. For all the viewers watching, Nate doesn't believe in watching or wasting time with preseason games. If he could eliminate all preseason games, he would.
Yes.
And it's okay for him to believe that. There's other people like myself that enjoy preseason games and enjoy watching them because I like to watch individual players, what they do and how are they able to separate. Can they do the curling cuts? Can they plant their feet down against other competitors? So that's just me. There's a lot of fan bases on both sides. There's a lot of fan bases like Nate, and there's a lot of fan bases like myself, and that's good to be diverse. And then there's Mike in between. With Mike, it's okay with certain practices, but he's not too fond of preseason games either. You know what I mean? So it's okay to be diverse and fan base.
As a matter of fact, when's the last time you watched a preseason game, Mike?
Man, I can't even remember.
I would take
you
that.
You guys are missing out.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna make it clear. Like I said, you know, from my perspective, I understand preseason is exciting for a lot of fans, so I'm not sitting here knocking the fans that watch preseason. This is an individual view representing myself. You know, for me personally, what I don't like about preseason is I think it's too long, and I also think that too many people emphasize these potential players like a Jalen Hurd when they're not playing against the first stringers the entire game, or they look at a first stringer like Jimmy Garoppolo like they were doing last year. They listen to these ignorant critics of our team, and they say Garoppolo went like 1-9. He don't look good his first two drives. And they start writing articles about it, press about it, and people start getting all crazy. And then all of a sudden when the season comes, Jimmy Garoppolo goes 13-3. You see what I'm saying? So, like, for me, if you're not playing against the ones the whole game, if play calling is vanilla, you know, I don't get too hyped or too down about someone's performance. If Jimmy Garoppolo went 0-4 and had all bad series in his games, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. So, you know, for preseason, the benefit is you get to see like a rookie that comes in and he gets to make a highlight or something to get people excited. Good. But when the season starts, man, at the end of the day, you know, it's a different ball game. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And like you guys have your valid points. When people come in and start saying the teams are going to be good or the team's not going to be good based on preseason, that's absurd. When players get evaluated by the media based on the performance from preseason, that is crazy and ludicrous. Like the situation with Jimmy Garoppolo, you know, he's going to be a bad quarterback because he threw all his interceptions. Well, I understand that Jimmy Garoppolo
was an untelevised practice at that they made a big deal out of.
Yeah, but
he's going to preseason game.
They're going to take chances in practice. They're going to take chances in preseason games that he normally wouldn't do in a regular season game. That I understand. But for me, I like to say like Jalen Hurts. I saw 2 fades over his shoulder catches in the red zone for touchdowns. I haven't seen that in a while as a Niner fan since the Terrell Owens era. So I'm not gonna lie, that gave me bubbles inside, man. That juiced me up. Now it hasn't transcended to the NFL. Now, am I gonna say Jalen Hurts is gonna be the best receiver in the NFL? No, that's ludicrous. But for what I saw, he's capable of showing us how good he is. Like, unless you watch Deebo Samuel in college, if you don't know too much about him, if I would have said he looked good in preseason, a lot of us would have said, well, we have to wait and see what he does in the regular season. You guys wouldn't buy into what he'd done. But as you can see, he progressed and got better throughout the season. Now we are aware of who Deebo Sanders is, and we like his potential. I just like preseason, certain games, certain players, just to see what, like Nick Bosa, although he didn't play, but I would like to see how his hand maneuver was. Is he able to separate from a guard or a tackle? Can he get by them quickly? Certain things that I like to look for. So I guess it's all in how you see it. I don't like the injury prospect of it. I do not. So losing a preseason game this year, I'm more for that, especially if we added a regular season game. I'd rather have a regular season game than a preseason game. But I did wish they would have went with your theory, Nate, with having 2 buys would have been nice to have 2 buys throughout a season.
Oh, I was hoping you were saying get rid of practice games.
No. Well, I know that I already know. But I know you did mention about putting in 2 buys. One in the early going and one towards the end would have been nice for a lot of teams. But it didn't happen. But they did remove 1 preseason game. They did add. Now we have 18 weeks instead of 17, or 17 weeks. Excuse me.
18.
Is it 18? Okay.
It's 18 now. Yeah, because you got 17 games plus a bye.
Yeah, so 17 games plus the bye, and then now we have 2 extra teams that will be competing in the playoffs. So we're looking from 12 to 14 teams, 7 on 7 instead of 6 on 6.
Yeah, I don't really care for that either.
Yeah. So with that said, though, what do you guys thought process on the number 1 seeds? Do you guys really strongly believe that just because you win your division, even if you have a bad record, that you should be entitled to have a bye and play a home game?
No, you don't get a bye. You don't get
not a bye, a home game.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say I'm okay with that. But here's the thing that I'm not okay with this new playoff format. Only the 1 seed gets a bye. Why are we giving so much credence to that 1 seed now? I wish they would have went 8 if they were going to go from 6.
Oh, the number 2 seed's not getting a bye anymore?
It can't. You just added another team for them. They're going to be playing wild card league.
Oh, that's
because you got to think about it. Since you have a high number of teams, if you gave the second seed a bye,
No,
and
no,
somebody would be left
Yeah.
out. So
makes sense. I didn't fully thought of. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So now just the number one season will have a bye. Whoa,
Yeah, I don't like it. It's a huge distinct advantage, which kind of okay. When you look at the NFC this year, you had 3 teams with the same record, the 1, 2, and 3 seed, almost unheard of. But my thing is, why should somebody who, by any crazy tiebreaker formulas, because sometimes they don't even play each other and they have to come up with these, okay, well, you had a better conference record or you beat this team by 3 points more than they did. I mean, that is not a good enough reason to me to give one single team a first round bye when all 3 of them achieved essentially the same thing. I don't agree with that. I wish they would have went 8. Everybody plays 3 games to get to the Super Bowl, and that's that.
Mm.
yeah, I have a little
Or left
different
it alone.
spin on it, man.
Yeah, or left it alone. I would have been okay with that.
Tell us what's your spin on it there, Mike.
So me personally, I'm not really a fan of division champions getting an automatic home game. However, I understand that's the point of divisions. You got to reward the division winner. So if you're going to reward a division winner with a guaranteed playoff spot, then their overall record should be considered when we're talking about home and away. I don't, I use this example for this year. Seattle came up a runner-up in the toughest division in football, the NFC West. That's right. We are the best division in football. And Seattle was a runner-up. You mean to tell me that Seattle going to Philadelphia makes sense? Nah. Seattle's a better team. Philadelphia should have came to Seattle. Seattle had a better record. Seattle's a better team. And they beat Philadelphia in their home. But it made no sense to have Seattle fly across the coast to play Philly. So, San Francisco was in that same situation. We'd be saying the same thing because that is the difference between home field advantage and an early, departure from the playoffs if home field is something that really, really impacts your team. So I just feel like at the end of the day, man, division winners should get a spot in the playoffs, but they should not be automatically given home field based on the overall record. That's what it should be, overall record.
Disagree.
I mean, so if you disagree respectfully, do you justify Seattle going to Philadelphia making logical sense?
I don't have to justify it. They won their division. That's the justification.
Right, but they're not okay. That again, you can win your division, but Philadelphia is not playing any tougher division, and Seattle had a harder schedule.
Yeah. If I could use that logic, I could talk the Patriots out of the playoffs.
Yeah, but again, we said overall. We talked about overall record. New England has a better overall record,
but if you give me a charity case schedule, you're gonna have that. That's why I'm not feeling it.
But that's
you win
the
your
argument.
division. That's that.
That's the argument. Is overall record is value over what type of winning division. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I disagree.
That's respectful. But again, if you disagree with that, had San Francisco had to go to Philadelphia and we lost because we were on the road,
then we went there and we lost, and I would have eventually got over it because that's what I do.
But we know that bye week gave us an advantage in being home.
It did. Yeah.
So with that being said,
we'd have been one and done.
With that great season that we had, why would we sit here and put that on division winning record team for a team that barely got in, that really is not any better than any of our teams, but they get the advantage of home field and we get the disadvantage of a bye week because we're in a runner-up in a harder division.
There and we beat them. That's what I say. If we don't beat them, then we obviously weren't that much better than them, right?
No, I mean, we weren't better on them on that day.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's all that matters. You get one shot.
Yeah, well, again, I don't agree with it. If winning your division is all you got to do, you know what I'm saying, despite what your overall record is, and you get home field over a team that won more games than you, that just doesn't make logical sense. If you win 7 games, 8 games, and somebody else wins 13 or 12, and they finish runner-up for some crazy reason, and they got to go on the road to a 500 ball club, don't make logical sense. It just doesn't.
The 500 ball club. That's all I can say. I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Hey, okay. So with that being said, then I'm going to have to ask you this. I'm gonna play devil's advocate now. If you disagree with me on this, then why not disagree about the format of the playoffs this year that's proposed with the first seed getting a bye? I mean,
only the first seed getting a bye.
The first seed, yeah, only the first seed.
No, I don't like that.
Why not?
I've never. What? I'm more of a traditionalist. Just go back in history. When did only a first seed get a bye? That's never been the case. Even when there were fewer playoff teams than 6 on each side, the first 2 always got the bye. So, call it what you will. That's what I see. If we're going to get rid of it, let's get rid of it completely. You know.
But in history, have we ever had an odd number of teams where that has happened? Because that would be impossible with an odd number of teams.
Odd number of teams. Let's see. How did that work before we went to 6 playoff teams? Because you did have, let me see. I'm going to back up, try to think about this. Okay. We had 3 divisions because you had the East, the West, and the Central. You had the 3 division winners. You had 2 wild cards. I don't remember how that worked. I'm having a hard time remembering.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying it would be pretty difficult with odd number of teams to have 2 teams have a bye. So
yeah,
it makes logical sense to have.
I think we had 5 teams going to the playoffs at that time, and we bumped it up to 6 before we went to the whole, 4 divisions on each side. We had 3, and we went to a wild card 3 for a while. And then we changed the divisions around, went north, south, east, west, and then you only had 2 wild cards.
So, but my whole point is,
I'm trying to remember how that worked.
If the root of your
Beto, did you remember how that worked? Yeah, there's no way to keep going on if we.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Do you remember how that worked?
I'm sorry, we lost you for a minute there, Nate.
Huh? Hello?
We lost you. What was that?
Oh, I was going to say, it doesn't make sense to keep talking about it if we don't remember how it worked before. But I do know that the first 2 seeds always skipped the bye. I mean, they had a bye. And now you're going to go to just 1. I know that when we had the 3 divisions on one side, you had 2 wild cards. That's how it worked. All right. I remember how it worked when we went to 6. I don't remember how it worked when we had 5. That's what I don't remember. Yeah. See, the 6 I know. The wild card 3 played the lowest division winner. The 1 and 2 wild cards played each other. That was how it went. Then you had the 2 division winners facing the wild cards with this format. I don't remember when we had 5 what we did.
Yeah, I would have to check on that because I'm like, if we have 5 teams and you have 2, the first 2 get a bye, then how is the 5th place team going to play? I mean, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somebody's going to be out of the game.
Yeah.
So maybe they had the first team back then go. I don't know.
Now, did you guys hear for sure from the NFL that there's not going to be the second best team doesn't have a bye, or you guys are just basing that on the way the matchups are?
The first team is the only one that's going to have a bye. There's no other way to do that.
No, but did the NFL say that themselves, or you guys are basically saying it because of the matchups?
Saying that because there's 7 teams and there's no other way to go about it.
Okay,
you got 5 teams. How do you give 2 teams a bye if you got 7 teams in the playoffs? Explain that to me. It's pretty easy to figure out.
That's what suits my point. If we're talking about, if you said that you like tradition and we had 5 teams, if that was tradition, then wouldn't that be the same thing as now? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense that if you don't like the format now,
good point.
But you like tradition, why would you like it when they had 5 teams? But
I didn't like 6. Tell you the truth.
No, but the point he's trying to say is not about liking tradition, but when there was 5 teams, how did they? If they had 2 teams had a bye,
I don't remember how they did it.
So they had to do it some way. So I'm sure.
I'm saying I think
weird
they had to do.
I remember that, but I don't remember how they did it.
For logical purposes, I think they had to give the first seed a bye if they had 5 teams because it's impossible to give 2 teams a bye with 3 teams left. It's impossible.
Yeah, it doesn't seem possible.
So you think when they went to 6 teams, that's when they went?
When they went to 6 teams, they probably gave the first 2 byes, and when they have odd numbers, they gave the first seed a bye. So if we're talking about tradition.
That makes sense, bro. That does make
Yeah.
sense. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
So tradition shows that they've done this before. It's just expanding. So the whole thing I'm saying is, if we're going to do these changes with the 6 team or even an odd number of teams, why not just go all out and give the best winner the best record? We award records when there's a
Kind of
tie.
like the NBA.
Let's see.
Kind of like the NBA, right, Mike?
Exactly.
Okay.
The format.
Here's the format. I'm using 1978 as an example.
Okay.
The wild card game was played strictly by the wild card teams. I knew I wasn't wrong about that.
Say that
There's
again?
nobody else playing but the 2 wild card teams. So, for instance, in the NFC, you had Atlanta and Philadelphia, and they matched up. Now, all the division winners had a bye. That's the way it worked. There were 3 byes, not 2.
So they eliminated a bye.
Yeah. So when they went to 6, they eliminated a bye. Just like when they're going to 7, they're eliminating a bye.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's how it went. I knew there was more than 1 bye. That didn't make sense. I remembered teams.
So, yeah, if they went from 3 to 2, then it makes sense to going 2 to 1.
Yeah, and what happens is the winner, it was strange the way they had this set up, because I see in some cases, I don't know what they've got going here. Maybe they did use something more, because I'm looking at Dallas was the number 2 and they played the 4, and then it was 1 versus 3. Why didn't the number 1 get the number 4? I'm not understanding that, but hey, maybe there's something to it, because I'm seeing like asterisks by their names and everything. So I don't know what that means, but just looking at it, it makes sense in the AFC, but it doesn't make sense in the NFC. I'm looking at it, and but anyway,
that's interesting. So okay, so the 2 best to the 2 number 1 seeds on AFC and the NFC and AFC have a bye. The rest of them are going to be playing. They're all going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody.
Yeah. So
everybody's going to play in the wild card game.
So it was even worse in that respect, Mike. Think about it. You could be a division winner at 8-8, 9-7, and didn't play in the first round because your division didn't have any 10-win guys or 11-win guys. So it was even worse. You even got a bye, not only a home playoff game, but a bye.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we respectfully disagree. I value, at the end of the day, if you have an overall record, hey man, you should get home field. That's it. If your record is better than another team, you should have home field. It just makes logical sense to me. I will say, for divisions in football, I do feel like if they're going to reshuffle divisions, you remember, for older Niner fans, you remember how San Francisco used to be. We used to have Atlanta. We used to have the Saints in our division, and they reshuffled them around
with the Rams.
Yeah. I mean, we had the Rams, of course, but eventually Seattle came over. We had Arizona, and we had
we had Carolina.
Yeah, and we had Arizona too. Come over.
That was later. We didn't get Arizona until we switched. No,
I'm not finished. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying later. I'm in fast forward in the recent times now. I'm not talking about back then no more. So once we had these division shuffles, I feel like there's a few divisions out there that's kind of questionable, in my opinion. Like in the AFC, the AFC East, I would like to see that reshuffle with some of the AFC South.
Why?
Because you have Miami in the East. I don't think it makes any sense that Miami's playing, and the Colts. Where the Colts at? They're in the South too, right?
South.
AFC.
South,
okay. Yeah. Switch Miami and Indianapolis. Miami and Jacksonville will be a much bigger draw than Indianapolis and Jacksonville. Indianapolis and New England are right up there. It will be interesting to see more geographical closeness.
Yeah, that's good. But one of the reasons they did what they did was because there were some, in some of these divisions that were already set before, there were some rivalries that they did not want to break up. And, that Miami in the AFC East had the real thing with Buffalo. There was a little bit of a tiff with them in New England when New England was good. Steve Grogg and Tony Eason days. So that was there. So they didn't want to cut that up, just like they kept Dallas in the East. Well, Dallas is way over in Texas. I'm sure we could probably come up with some NFC teams that are further east than Dallas. But
Sure.
It was that Redskins and Philadelphia and the Giants, and that they wanted to keep that together. So they didn't jerk with that division other than yanking Arizona out. They left it exactly like it was.
Right. But see, that's my thing. Like, they're valuing those type of teams, rivalries, and then they're taking away, like, unfortunately, at the time, Atlanta wasn't really good. The Saints weren't really good at that time. The Panthers were kind of new. So had Atlanta been, say, for example, a lot more better, and they pulled them away or we pulled them away from us, then it'd have been like some people would have felt like their divisions were less valued because they're getting switched around, for example. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, and historically, our division, the West, we pretty much steamrolled the Falcons and the Saints pretty regularly.
Yeah, all the time.
And Carolina, actually,
they were just there for a few years,
but they got the best of us for the most part.
That's because they had George Seifert.
Well,
and they had our
even before they had George Seifert, they were getting the best of us. When we had George Seifert, they were getting the best of us.
They had our running back too.
He was hurt.
Hey, real quick, guys, just so I want to keep engaged with our viewers. I'm going to read the question to you guys, and I want you guys to be the ones to answer those questions, just because I want to continue to keep our viewers involved on our show. Marcus Person says, and why would we keep McKinnon? Please tell me. And what's up with Goodwin? Why would we keep him? Question mark.
We're still in March. McKinnon, they're keeping him because Kyle has a tendency to latch on to players, and if he likes them, I think to a fault, he's loyal. And McKinnon is going to cost us about 3 point something on the cap because he's getting league minimum, but he's also got some incentive money that comes from the other contracts. So that is going to count against the cap, even though his base salary is with the new contract is less than $1 million. So that was going to count to us anyway. We weren't getting out of that 2.5 or whatever it is. So we kept him because he's holding out hope that he's going to produce. I don't know that I agree with that move, but hey, Kyle does what he does. Goodwin, don't know that we're going to keep him. He's got a lot of money that he's going to count against the cap, along with, probably about $4 million, I think. He might get cut because there's a good chance that he's not good enough to make this team. So why let any of his money roll into a guaranteed situation when you can cut ties with him? Right now, I don't believe that he'll still be around, Marcus. I think he'll be gone.
Great answer, Nate, for Marcus. And good question, Marcus. I appreciate you, man. I'm going to read another question. I'll have Mike. We'll trade off.
Hey, hold on, Beto. I want to chime in on Marcus' question, too.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sure.
Hey, Marcus, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for chiming in. So I'm going to give you my honest assessment on why we would keep McKinnon. It makes a lot of sense to me. But a simple fact, for the same reason why, we got Armstead. Because if you think about it, both of them were very injury prone early in their careers. McKinnon hasn't played yet. Armstead really came around this year. And prior to that, he was hurt. And we had a lot of fans talking about Armstead really hasn't shown me nothing. It's easy to say that when you're physically not playing. But when they play, they produce. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan sees something in McKinnon that he knows he's going to produce. And people forget, man, we were without McKinnon and went to the Super Bowl. So if McKinnon, at the time when we got McKinnon, he was looked at as probably our best running back before, all of our other backs started doing their thing. So if we get McKinnon back, we're only going to be on paper, we're supposed to be much better if he's our best back or one of our best back. You know what I mean? So Mostert took off, but McKinnon, they say, is the man. So let's see. If Kyle Shanahan feels that way and we as fans feel like he hasn't produced, in fairness, he hasn't played. So we don't really have anything to go off of to say what he can or can't do in this system. If he pans out and stays healthy, it'll be like, damn, that was a smart move.
Good answer, man. That's good. I love the interacting with our viewers and having you guys answer their question. And viewers, continue to bring in your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them accordingly. This is more of a statement than a question, and it's by Ismael Ortiz. Says, I know Beto likes Perez. I don't like him that much. I just talk Canelo highly about him. But if he don't do, we need to part ways 100. I still think that there's hope for him. I don't necessarily that I like him, like I want him, but I think it's too early to really judge him, in my opinion. I think we should give him another year to see what he can do. Hopefully he can bounce back. I think he has the potential to be a great receiver. We know he's a great runner. Just something happened, man, last year, and I would like to see more productivity from him. But great statement there. Then moving on, Richard. And I'll ask Mike, and then you can answer it too, Nate. Richard, Brian, thank you for your question, brother. He says, do you think we should trade our 31st pick?
I mean, right now, man, to be honest, for me, it's too early to answer that because it depends on what we do in the free agency. It depends on what we draft in the 13th. You know, I could see us doing that, though, to acquire some more picks, obviously, to trade back and get more depth. So I do think that's a highly likely possibility, but stranger things have happened. You know, we also drafted Mike McGlinchey and didn't see that coming first round. So, I mean, you know, it has yet to be seen, but I do think it's highly likely we trade that pick and get some more, you know, draft capital to get some more depth and quality.
Okay, before I answer that, I'm going to rewind back to the Dante Pettis thing and give a strong argument for keeping him if he can make the roster. Here's the bottom line. Dante Pettis' cap hit for 2020, $1.745 million. Dead cap hit, $1.367. 300 and some odd thousand to keep Dante Pettis to see if he can pan out. I don't see you're not really gaining anything by getting rid of him. Let it ride. If he makes the roster, keep him. If he doesn't make the roster, cut him loose.
Very good point, Nate. Yeah. Very good point. Not only based on very good point. Just on the financial part, it's a good point to keep him and give him a shot.
It's like, if you had like this $4 million dead hit, or I should say $4 million cap hit, and you could get out of it for the $1 million, and you save $3 million. Maybe that makes sense, but for $300,000, nah. Roll it again. You drafted him in the second round. He had a good second half of his rookie season, and he really struggled and got in the doghouse last year. Yeah, another year doesn't hurt because you're not really saving anything by getting rid of him. So give him his chance to fight his way into some playing time. See what he can do.
Okay, and this is for you. Go ahead and read it there, Mike. Since you're the one that we're bringing up this topic here, Christian seems to work with you a little bit.
Yeah, what's going on, Christian? Christian says, to your point, Mike, I think geographically the AFC South should be Jacksonville, Miami, Tennessee, and I guess I'm assuming that's like Houston, the Texans. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like he agrees with me on the reshuffling. I mean, it only makes sense if you're going to geographically reshuffle majority of these divisions. You know, Jacksonville and Miami would be a tremendous draw in Florida to spark that new rivalry. So I understand there's historic classic rivalries, you know, that some people are indebted to those rivalries, you know, but at the end of the day, man, I mean, hey, you're still in the AFC. It's not like you're Seattle coming from the AFC to the NFC. You're still in the AFC. You're just in another division. And geographically, if you're trying to center everyone as close as possible in proximity, it just makes sense, man. Miami and Jacksonville are in the same state, but they're not in the same division and in the same conference. It just You know, it just looks weird, man. It's not like when the Raiders are in the AFC, you know, they're in the AFC. So when San Francisco and Oakland are in the Bay Area, they're in another conference. So that's understandable. Miami is in the AFC, and so is um, Jacksonville. So it was just, I don't know. That's just me. I think it would be a new spark to see those teams play each other because fans will come out to that.
You might have a valid point there, Mike.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even if you look at the 4 teams that were, well, if you count the Raiders, I mean, they're just moved to Las Vegas, so it's not really that much of a difference. But geographically, you got 4 teams that were here in California. You got 2 that were in the AFC West, 2 that were in the NFC West. So, yeah, you know, might have a point there.
Yeah, I would like to see it.
Very good question, Christian.
But you want to know what's crazy? When you think about Texas, what do you have? 1 team in the East, 1 team in the South. Yeah, same thing, huh?
Yeah, but at least
East and South.
Yeah, at least you know the Texans are in the AFC South, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean
Dallas is in the NFC
East, right?
Yeah,
and I mean I get that Dallas and Philly are a historic classic rivalry. See, this is the reason why I feel this way. I remember when I grew up as a Niners fan, hating Dallas with a passion. So I would have loved to see Dallas in our division, you know, just because I'm a, you know, that would be an awesome experience to be able to say we have the Cowgirls in our division. No disrespect, ladies. That's no bad thing to you guys. That's just something I'm calling them. Hell, even 49er women fans agree with me. We're gonna call them the Dallas Cowgirls. So, but you know, all jokes aside, I would have loved to see some of these things shuffle because I think from a business perspective and from a new wave, especially with newer generation fans, these things will take off. Wasn't Tampa Bay and Green Bay in the division back in the day?
Yep. Yeah, they were all in the North. I mean, the Central, I should call it. NFC Central.
That makes no sense, man. Tampa Bay, Green Bay. I mean, the battle of the fake bays because there's only one bay in the NFL. You know, so like I said, I mean, to me, it just doesn't make geographical sense. So I would love to see a little bit of reshuffling, but it is what it is, you know. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure they're not even considering what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Very good point. This Marcus asks, he says, "Thank you guys for answering his question." I'll never bring it up. That I clicked on it.
Yeah, good question. Thanks, guys. Good question.
And then he says, I just think 5 running backs is a lot to add to a roster in that spot.
Well, you do got to realize somebody's going to lose out on that. They're not all going to make it. The reason why they were all on that team this year is because McKinnon got hurt. Had McKinnon got hurt, somebody got to go. And more than likely, you know, we're thinking Jeff Wilson Jr., he went to the practice squad. So he probably would have stayed there had McKinnon not got hurt. And then Coleman got hurt too, right? Early in the year.
Yeah.
And that's why he was called up from the practice squad.
He got hurt. That's where he was brought in.
I don't know that 5 running backs are going to make it because, you know, you are looking at McKinnon, Coleman. That's another one, Coleman. We might cut Coleman.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. We very well may cut Coleman. You know, he has a contract that has 0 dead money on it this year.
Yep.
So I'm not going to be surprised if he's a cap casualty. And I see the same with Goodwin. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut him because those two count $8.4 million in savings if we were to cut them. So I don't see why. First of all, Goodwin, I don't think he can make our roster. I really don't. So I don't see them keeping him. And Coleman, it's kind of my own personal issues with Coleman. I have problems with the way he runs the ball. I have problems with his lack of vision when he runs the ball. holes that other guys on our team hit that he doesn't, and runs out of bounds or right into the back of a lineman for a 2-yard gain. And when you make a nice big hole where he can't miss it, oh yeah, he'll hit that sucker. But don't let it be just a crease. Like Breida can hit that crease. Mostert can hit that crease. Coleman's not. That's my own issue with him. And there's a lot of people that really like Tevin Coleman. I don't.
Hey, breaking news. The Niners have just traded for OBJ.
Yeah, whatever. No, he didn't.
Yeah, and guess what we gave up for him? We gave a first round, and it's not the 31st.
You're joking.
No, I'm joking.
Yes, he is.
I know you are.
I wanted to see some reactions, that's all.
Yeah.
I know you are. You gonna have this fan, boy. You could have got me, man, had it been like 30 more minutes.
No. That's why I said that's why I didn't say the 31st, because the 31st was never more viable. I guess by me saying that 13 was given out, that's a clue that didn't happen.
If they give up a first-round pick for them, they need to really evaluate their heads.
Well, if they do get him, a first-round pick, they have to give the 31st for him.
Why?
Because what else are they going to trade?
Yeah, like next year stuff.
They don't have a second, a third, or a fourth.
Yeah, you got to get it for next year, buddy, or you got to just kick rocks. No.
Okay.
You got to go second, fourth, third, fourth, something like that has got to happen. He's not worth a first-round pick at all.
We had a comment from Junior Hernandez that came up and was talking about Odell Beckham.
That's why I brought it up.
Okay. What's going on, Junior? So Junior says they should bring Odell Beckham to replace him. I guess, is he talking about replacing Emmanuel Sanders? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Sanders, Goodwin, all of them.
So we were talking a little bit about this off air to all the fans, and just to kind of bring it out to what we were thinking. Yeah. Overall, me and Brother Nate, we both agree that Odell Beckham is a huge risk from a character standpoint. Now, when it comes to his on-field talent, there's no disputing or questioning that he's a great addition to the team. However, I don't trust his. I don't know that. Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys this because the fans are asking us questions. Well, I'm gonna put something on you. If you get Odell Beckham to the 49ers, let's say we get him, can you honestly say in your heart, take away your fantasy football love for him, can you honestly say in your heart that he could do two things? Number one, could he be second to George Kittle on this scheme? No matter how great we perceive him to be at his position, could he be number two to George Kittle?
Could he handle that?
Because George Kittle's our number one.
Saying?
Can he handle that? I want to know from the fans.
I don't believe
I know what we think. What do the fans think? And number two, second question, can OBJ, with all your heart, Niner fans, can you honestly say, can OBJ with the sureness handle being a decoy for other receivers to get open while the running game takes off? And he's pretty much not getting any numbers. But he's a decoy because he's helping everyone else get off. Basically, he's doing what DeForest Buckner did for our D-line, freeing up the Eric Armsteads and everyone else to look good and shine because he's taking on double teams. Could Odell Beckham do the same for us offensively and his presence be a decoy? Because if they double team him, Debo's going off, Kittle's going off. You can't guard everybody. They're going to prioritize OBJ every game like they always do. So he has to be a decoy while everyone else gets out of shine. Could he be humbled enough to come in and play his role, be a role player as a superstar, and also be number two to George Kittle? If he can do those two things, I'm all right with it. But I don't think he can.
And giving up draft capital and being committed to that $60 million over 4 years is true. A big risk.
That's true.
But true. Yeah. If he wasn't such a character concern.
Good point, Nate. Good point.
If he wasn't such a character concern, just imagine him and Debo on the field would be nice. But it doesn't override his character concern, so therefore is someone that I wouldn't want either. Based on that, we don't want no disruption in our locker room. We don't want our young kids. Just someone you don't want to just darken someone like Debo Samuel at a young age, and that's what would happen if you bring in OBJ and he continues his dismay in the locker room, because people are going to look up to him, and we don't need that in the locker room. So I'd rather bring a young kid in the draft and develop him, or not develop him, but just start him up from young and just teach him the right way, 49er football. And because I don't know. I think OBJ is a good receiver, but do we need someone like him? Really? Does his talent supersede the ability to put up with this nonsense? I don't think so.
No one does. No one does.
You better put it.
Is he also durable, man? Does he have like injury prone seasons too?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that would be another concern additional concern that I have, is that I don't want a guy that's injury prone like he is. Could you give all that draft capital and money for him just so he's only there probably half a season and he'll complain? I mean, he has a history of it. Granted, he hasn't played for a Super Bowl team like we are right now, but I don't care. I understand that your character or core doesn't change just because, I'm not overall, I don't think it's a smart move for our team and where we're trying to go and what we built. We can do we got to Super Bowl without him. So I'll leave it at that.
What do you guys thought? Okay, so let's get away a little bit from OBJ and a little bit of that. There's a couple of receivers out there that I think will be valuable to come to the Niners. Someone that when it's not going to demand as much as OBJ, but it can be as productive. I mentioned that kid's name earlier. What was his name again?
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson from the New York Jets. I think he's definitely an upgrade from. Oh my God, I'm using it right now. They got from Goodwin for Mark for.
Okay, definitely an upgrade from Goodwin, but I think that he's a younger version of Sanders. If you ask me, maybe not quite as tough physically, but similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I think someone like him can be productive for us. I think he's an underrated receiver playing with a really bad quarterback over there in New York, and I think with a Kyle Shanahan scheme, I think he can be productive here.
I think he might be a tad pricey for the Niners' blood right now.
I think he's asking somewhere within $9 million per year.
Is he? You know, a lot of the things like Sport Track thinks that he's about between 12 and 13 million per.
Ooh.
Yeah, based on production and the people that they were comparing him to as far as his production. Yeah, they think that he rounds are somewhere in that 12 to 13 million a year area. And Sport Track has been lowballing everybody. Everything that's coming up, like they had Armstead at 15.7. We know what he got. He got 17. So, everything that they've been putting up there, for guys that were young going into these contracts, they had DeForest Buckner at 19.8. Everybody's getting a little bit more than what this Sports Track is saying, especially the younger guys. Older guys, they're harder, and sometimes those contracts are subjective because they don't factor in age as much as they just go on straight, how you play, who they compare you to and what they make. So sometimes age will kind of dwindle down that deal some.
Let me throw another receiver, and I want to get your guys. I'm going to throw a few out there, but I'm going to throw this one out here, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. What about Nelson Aguilar from the Philadelphia Eagles?
There's another injury-prone guy.
But when healthy, he's pretty good. He's only 27 years old.
And very inconsistent.
Okay.
Even when he's on the field.
What about you, Mike? And then I'll
I agree, man. I mean, I don't. I think Alshon Jeffrey's their number one go-to, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that no said.
Okay, so what do you guys think about oh my god, let's see if I can pronounce his first name right. Tajay Sharp out of Tennessee, 25-year-old. I don't know if I pronounce Tajae. I don't know if I pronounced it
You
right.
know, because of his he's kind of a wild card. He was like their third receiver. So
Tennessee, yeah.
I honestly don't know too much about him. I haven't really sat down and watched the Titans at all, so I can't really say. But I'm okay with what we have personally, just adding on and building up through this draft.
Okay. What about Devin Funchess?
no. Another inconsistent guy over there from Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. He's with Indy right now. But
Well, he was very inconsistent in Carolina, and he just did 1 year in Indy.
This guy's coming from your favorite team, Philip Dorsett.
He's trash.
Is he trash the way he plays, or is it trash because he's playing for New England?
No, he's terrible.
Okay. I don't know.
New England doesn't even have wide receivers. Why would we talk about them?
Oh,
they don't. I mean, they were, you had a quarterback like Tom Brady, and I think he averaged a little over 6 yards an attempt. It wasn't because he can't throw the football anymore. Yeah, no. It's because those guys weren't getting open, and he was throwing the ball away all the time. So, no, they don't have wide receivers, so we don't want any of theirs.
A real quick question. We'll just throw another curveball. What do you guys think about he is injury prone. He is, but this guy at his position when he's healthy, he's very, very good.
Oh!
What do you guys think about bringing this guy in?
Richard, you see Richard's statement there. I concur. No free agent I'd rather have over a rookie. I'm with that.
Wait a minute. No free agent I'd rather have over a rookie. I think.
Yeah. So basically, I'm guessing he's saying that he likes the draft and he likes all of the talent in the draft, and he would rather dig into the draft for the receiver talent as opposed to, messing around with free agents. Richard, if that's the case, correct me if I'm wrong, or let me know that that's what you're saying.
Okay, great. And the guy that I was going to say right now is Jordan Reed, tight end. What do you think of bringing him in to back up George Kittle?
Jordan Reed.
Yeah, Jordan Reed.
Isn't he really injury prone as well?
Yeah.
He's been hurt a couple of times. I don't know if he's injury prone.
Jordan Reed, Tyler Eifert, Delaney Walker. I mean, whatever.
Well, he's the best out of those three names you mentioned.
Is he?
Well, Eifert was really good until he started getting hurt a lot.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you what he'd do now. And just like Delaney Walker, I can't tell you what he'd do now. He was hurt.
Yeah, he's old. He's 30. He's going to be 37 years old.
Yeah. Well, you're only keeping these guys for a year or two. You don't want them too long.
Yeah. I mean, he's injury prone as it is, and then with that age,
30. Wow, I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah,
okay. He said that's exactly what he meant. Yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah, Christian says Jordan Reed is a concussion prone.
He is.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like we all said it. Like I just said it a minute ago. I said I'm fine with what we got now going through the draft regarding receiver because we still got Jalen Hurd and Taylor. We got guys that we haven't seen yet that I feel are going to produce, and we're going to add more depth in that draft. So this draft, from what I'm hearing, has a lot of receivers. Let's just build through the draft and develop our guys. That's what we do. We don't need to go out here and spend outrageous money on some OBJ guy and hope for some free agent just to sign a name. We all right. Let them stay where they at. We'll build our own thing.
Very good point. So if we do go, I spelled that wrong. If we do go to receiver in the draft, and 3 of the top receivers are there at 13, just for the sake of argument for our our fan views. Who do you guys go with? Lamb, Judas, or Ruggs?
Me personally, whoever's the best deep threat, that's who I go with.
That'd be
Well, we
Ruggs.
know who that is.
Yeah, that's Henry.
Yep. I don't know that that's the right answer, though.
You don't think so? Who else
You
would?
know, my thing is, I'm not too. There's so many of them. It's like it depends on what else is available. You know, I'm not going to get fixated on wide receiver. I named a slew of players that I would be interested in.
Yeah,
There's
but
a ton of
I think he's
receivers
just
that are
talking
going to
about like
start in the second, third round. You know, I'm probably not going to stick. You know, how many different options do I have at that point? That's going to be the question. You know, if
yeah,
all three of them are there, I probably have shots at a tackle. I probably got shots at a safety. I probably got shots at a corner. Why not get one of those? Because they're going to be gone. I can get receivers later.
no, I think the question is though, and Beto, you correct me. I think Beto was asking if it was those three, if we went receiver, which one of those three would you draft?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I hear you, and I know what you're saying, but truth be told, I don't know. Yeah, probably his teammate. I'm probably not going with him if those are the options.
Yeah,
But yeah, more than likely, I'm probably not going wide receiver at all if they're all available because there's probably something else available that I couldn't get later. Wide receiver, I can get later.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
I
there's as
personally
big a
want
difference. Like when you look at guys like Judy, Lamb, Ruggs, I got question marks about all those guys.
right.
Who's to say that Denzel Mims at the end of the first round is not going to be better than them? I don't
Yeah,
I
know.
like him. I like
Yeah.
him.
You know, if I could get that offensive tackle from Alabama at 13, plug him in at guard for a year or two, and then turn around at 31 and get Mims, I don't care about those three guys. That's my feeling.
agreed.
Yeah. So that's
I
just an
personally want the
example
O
of why
line.
I'm saying I'm not really stuck on those three guys.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, a lot of our fans, I think they want a receiver so bad, especially right now with Sanders departing. People are looking instantaneously to fill it in, but they got to remember it's a process. We still got the draft to go through. I personally don't. I personally want the best O lineman that we can get available. That's just me. I want to protect Garoppolo because I think that'll be a huge key and difference in our season, getting the guy
Yeah.
groomed.
And on top of that, truth be told, I don't know that we don't have our guard on our team already. You know,
True.
Brunskill might be our guy.
He might be. That's
Yeah.
true. Indeed.
And the reason why I would go with the tackle is because I know what I'm going to do with him. That's Joe Staley's replacement.
Exactly. That's why I'm
So,
saying that I want to go O line because that's what I'm thinking about is Joe Staley's replacement, getting him groomed right now. And if Staley got hurt like he did last year for some weeks, we can rotate him in, get some of that game experience. And
yeah.
I just want to see Garoppolo protected, man.
And I did say somebody put up. I saw something. I just caught a glimpse of it, but it was something about the draft answer being Delpit. All right, I'm not against that one either. Yeah. Oh, that was Richard. Yeah, Richard. Delpit at 13. It's not a bad call either. You know, I can tell you what'll probably happen if we did get him. He's probably going to play free safety, and Jimmy Ward's going to be the strong safety, and Tart is going to be a depth piece all of a sudden. That's not a bad position to be in either.
Yeah. And I mean, secondary O line are our biggest. For me, it's something I prioritize more because, like you said, this draft has so many wide receivers.
Yeah.
For the first few rounds, it's like it's not. Yeah. Is there really a big gap between the first and the second or the late first? I mean, we don't know. You know, that's just people speculating. But when you're talking about the top tackle or the top somebody in the secondary, and there's a gap. Hey man, I want to get it. So I personally want the O line. That's just me. I want to protect Garoppolo.
I mean, I like Willis specifically though. The reason why I like Willis is because I know he can play guard.
Right.
You know, and he's a good tackler, and he will kick right out there, and he will play a solid tackle. I don't know if the plan would be to put him at right tackle and move McGlinchey over to left, which he played pretty much all his entire college career, or just leave McGlinchey where he is and replace Staley with him, and then maybe ultimately slide Brunskill into that spot. Yeah, who knows?
Right.
But I think that when you start bringing in young guys that can handle that job, you're putting yourself in a good spot. Because right now, we're looking to kind of send it out a bit. We let one go, and we picked one up, but this guy's probably a backup that we picked up. He's not.
Right.
I don't think we really got him to be a starter because he didn't really start a lot of games. He started some back in 2018. He started a lot, but he didn't really perform that great. His numbers were comparable to the guy we got rid of. Yeah. So actually, they were slightly worse. So
yeah, indeed.
I don't know that that's the answer, but I mean, as a backup, that's okay.
Indeed. Yeah. So, but yeah, bro. We'll see what we do, man. I'm excited, and hopefully, I'm all about that O line, man. I think that's gonna be the difference between Garoppolo's season ascending, going even further. I think he's gonna be improved regardless, but having more time to throw the football is only gonna make him kill these defenses more. I really believe that.
Well, you got to look at what was our weak link. As a matter of fact, when Garoppolo had issues this year, where did it come from more times than not? The right guard. It was always right there. 90% of the time, it seemed like it was coming from right there. Pressure right in his face.
Exactly. That's why I want an O-lineman.
Yeah, I would definitely want. Now, we don't necessarily have to draft him that high either, but that guy I feel is plug and play. I think we can put him in there day one, and he will just grow in that spot as the year goes on. And by the end of the year, we'll have a solid right guard, with no issues. We won't be hearing his name. It's almost like he's not there. He's going to be so solid. So, yeah. And ultimately, like I said,
question for you guys.
Oh, go ahead.
There's a question for you guys. Ryan Cox says he doesn't get the Persons for Compton cut. He doesn't understand why we cut Persons and signed Compton. Can you guys answer that?
Yeah, you know what? I just kind of think that 2 years of Persons and 2 years of not performing, that they were just tired. They wanted to move on from him. I think Compton's signing was basically made to back up, a depth piece. We lost a lineman, we wanted a lineman. Not that he was going to go out there and truly replace him. He was going to be a backup. Now, the part of the signing I don't understand is I do believe that we're paying Compton $500,000 more than we would have been paying Person. So that's the part that I don't really get. Oh, and he just put that up there. Yeah, $3 million for Compton, $2.5 million for Persons. Yeah, that's the part I don't get. I agree with you, Ryan. I don't understand that part myself.
What about you, Mike?
Man, I'm trusting the process. I mean, they right now it looks like whatever it looks, but they must have seen something in this man to pay him $500,000 more, and then to bring him over. If maybe they feel in his scheme he can be more effective. So we'll see. I mean, on paper trail, it looks like it's a questionable head scratcher, but when they get into the game, old Compton might show out. He might do his thing enough to where he's pivotal part of this team. So I just trust the process, man. I learned a long time ago, trust the process when it's working.
I'm going to hope he doesn't get in the game.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
Or they just seen enough of Persons, man. They just seen enough of them for 2 years.
That part I get. But this guy has not outperform person, but you paid him more. That's
How old?
what.
How old is Person versus Compton? Mike Person.
I don't know.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Compton and Persons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Mike and
Mike Persons and Tom Compton.
Tom. Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Compton. Let's see here. Okay. He is 30 years old.
Okay.
And then what was the name of the other guy?
That's
Mike,
Compton. That's
Mike
30.
Person.
Oh, Mike.
Mike. Okay.
Yeah. Sound like they're pretty close in age too.
Yeah, I think they are. See here, he's 31. He's a year older.
Yeah. Okay.
Persons.
Yeah. I thought they were pretty close. Yeah. Well, that's not their reasoning, I'm sure.
Yeah, pay $500,000 for a year younger.
I think, you see a guy on your team in your scheme and he makes your stomach turn a little bit. And so you try another guy, and even though he didn't outperform him, maybe they do believe that he can perform better in their system than he has, and that he can outperform Mike Person. Maybe. I don't know that I buy it, but I'm no coach. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting to see what the reason. I'm pretty sure they have a reason to give an extra $500,000 for a player that potentially can be the same. Maybe they know the ceiling of Persons. They can get higher. They don't know the ceilings of accounting for them yet.
Yeah.
So there's something,
I just know that typically guys that are 30 years old don't become something special all of a sudden when they've been in the league for 6-7 years. So
yeah,
I don't have a lot of expectations for him. I'm hoping that he can be a solid backup if he's called upon, but I never hope that the backups get in the game unless it's, we got a 5-touchdown lead and there's 8 minutes left. That's when I want to see him. And we're not going to learn anything from him then.
Yeah, right on.
True. With that said, yeah. So it's going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be interesting what we're going to do. So we know this: Buckner is gone, and Emmanuel Sanders is gone. 2 key players that we had in this year's Super Bowl. And we're moving forward. But we're going to be all right, Niner fans. We're going to be all right. Trust the process. Trust what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch is doing. Understand this, that their best interest is for the team. We don't know what they're brewing, but they're brewing something. And a lot of us are going to agree to a certain point what they do. A lot of us are not going to agree. If they go for OBJ, some of us is going to like it. Some of us are not. If they go for a receiver and with a 13 overall, many of you guys will agree with it, like it. Many of you guys won't.
Yeah, if they give up a first-round pick for him, we're gonna fire them and we're gonna put you in the front office bed.
Yeah, I just don't see them going for OBJ. I really don't see them going for him. But if we do get him, which I hope we don't. I just don't see how we can get him without giving up the 31st. I understand what you said about next year, 2021, but I doubt it if that's going to be the case. They're going to
Well, they can always say no, and we can move on.
Yeah.
We got told no before, and we offered more than Cleveland, so I'm okay with being told no.
So I'm hoping that that's the case with that I just don't think we need to bring somebody with that character concern into the locker room. Personally, myself, I think we're good where we're at. We're still within that window for a Super Bowl run. We don't necessarily have to have someone like OBJ to make the Super Bowl. I think we can do it with the players that we have. And we're definitely going to add more pieces in the draft. So, Niner fans, we're going to be okay. Don't panic.
Yeah.
Don't abandon ship. We're gonna be fine now.
Trust and
Absolutely.
believe. We're gonna get a contributor or two. That
Yep.
all these names we talk about in the draft, we're gonna get a contributor or two that nobody is even talking about.
Yep. Always do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. What the question is by Ryan? It says if we do sign OBJ, what's our conversation? What's our conversation? It's going to be a bunch of. I'm going to be passing these around to my boys on here. Couple of
So
these.
I guess the question
Yeah,
is,
because I might cry. I might cry.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, I voice how I feel about it. You know, I'm more concerned about his character. His
Oh,
skill is not the question. So I want a guy that's going, if he can do the two things I said, if he can come in and be second to George Kittle and also be a decoy for our other receivers to get open and running game to take off. He can do those two things and have his occasional big game here and there. I'm okay with that. Now, if he came and they ain't double team him and he was to go off and be the man, I'm okay with that too. But I know he commands a lot of double teams, so he doesn't have to get the ball to him. He just needs to accept his role, and I don't know that he could do that. So.
yeah. You know.
But man, bros, I'm finna get up out of here, man. It's getting late over my way. I definitely love to chat some more. But man, we're gonna do it again.
absolutely.
Right.
No, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for being part of it. Yeah, we could definitely call it a night. It's been over an hour usually. But we just want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in to the Nine of Sickness podcast show. You guys are amazing. Again, I can't stress this enough. That without you, the viewers, and your great questions, this show is just not what it is. It's all up because of you, man. We do it because we love our team. We love to talk, and we love to entertain and bring you guys information regarding our San Francisco 49ers, man. So thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your faithfulness, man. And remember, continue to share this video with your friends and family. Put it on your timeline. And remind them to follow us on YouTube under Niner Sickness. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you guys will be notified each and every time we go on. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook, man. You guys are amazing. Thank you for watching, and let's see what happens, man. Any type of breaking news, we will bring it to you guys. Whether all of us or one of us will bring you any type of breaking news that concerns your 49ers, man. So thank you for watching tonight, man. Have a wonderful weekend, and be safe out there. Anything you guys want to say before we call it a night?
No.
All right. All right, guys.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. Good night, guys.
All right.
Peace.
Peace, peace, peace.